Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Benefits Cooldown Ted Lasso edition. It is me, Ted Lasso, and my good friend Sam. Still can't pronounce your last name, Sam. Otherwise known as Eric Silverman, and the one, the only Ed Legande. Hey, is anybody with me on this? Ed and Sam, you guys are like doppelgangers of each other. Like, I got to tell you, it's like almost a splitting image. Ed, what do you think on that, man?
Sounds like I should go try out for Richmond SC at this point. So
You should try
well,
out for
let's let the
Richmond
crowd
FC.
decide.
Absolutely. So Ed, what's our Ted Lasso quote for today, brother?
All right, I got a good one for you today. So if the internet has taught us anything, it's that sometimes it's easier to speak our minds anonymously. And so just makes me think about reviews. Like when you're looking up providers or looking up new solutions and things like that, a lot of times you're just looking at nothing but negative reviews all the time, and it can really give you a jaded effect as to what this new benefit or new solution is you're about to implement. But I'm curious on your thoughts. Have you come across that with clients or broker partners, and how do you navigate that in your world?
Yeah, I mean, look, it reminds me of three words. Three words. You ready? Misery loves company. Misery loves company. It's as plain and as simple as that. Unfortunately, when we as benefit advisors and brokers and consultants are introducing our clients to new ideas and new things to consider, and or if you're prospecting and your prospect is researching online, most people are only going to find the negative for most things. And sadly, as night follows day, the negative typically outshines the positive. So if you're looking at reviews of a product or a service or a company, a lot of times it's going to be more riddled with negative because, again, misery loves company as opposed to the positive, and that could totally skew their view. So, I've been a victim of that, to be perfectly transparent and blunt, going back to my carrier days. Everybody who's watching probably knows I've said it before. My name's Eric. I'm a recovering carrier rep. And back in my carrier days, I was just bundled into the carrier. So if the carrier got negative reviews, Eric Silverman or Ted Lasso got bad reviews. Let's face it, Ted Lasso doesn't get bad reviews. But with all seriousness, right? Eric would get bad reviews, whether it's me or whether it, in my case, was the carrier I was representing, right? So it was a mountain to climb. I got to tell you, it was a hurdle that I had to be able to address and embrace, good, bad, or indifferent. And, here's what I found, and I'm curious your opinion as we start to wrap up. I find that the easiest way to overcome an objection, particularly a negative objection that is something that's common, something that you probably can anticipate 9 out of 10 times coming up, you know what? Bring it up proactively in advance, right? Hit it head on. Don't run from it. Whatever you do, my advice in benefits and it really in the real world, do not leave the meeting on a high thinking everything's perfect and then wonder why they might be giving you radio silence later or that you don't get a deal. They probably researched it and found some negative things that they didn't like, and perhaps they weren't able to bring it up to you. They weren't human enough. I don't want to say man or woman, but human enough to just bring it up to you with decency. So my advice is bring it up in advance, own it, honor it, and explain it. What do you think on that?
Yeah, what you just touched on is something that, early in my career, I wish I knew, sooner than later. You just want to focus on the positives. It's easier to focus on the positives, but I found a lot of peace of mind, a lot better partnership with my clients at the end of the day when we discuss what can go wrong, or we discuss some things to avoid and how we can best navigate those situations so that the best surprise is no surprise anymore. And especially if you're looking at a lot of change, they really want to know exactly what kind of pools they're going to be weighted in, right? So I'm really glad you brought that up. And I think that that's a fantastic way to make sure you're sitting on the same side of the table with the client. So
Hey,
I'll leave it at that.
For everybody tuning in and listening, if you have a mustache, how do you do that? Like, this thing is tickling me like crazy, and it looks like I'm picking my nose. I promise I'm not picking my nose, Ed. it's tickling me. Your mustache isn't big enough to tickle your nose, but ones with like the old Magnum PI mustaches, like Ted Lasso, I don't know how you do it. It's driving me nuts. So luckily, I only have to wear it for a few minutes every week when we record these cool downs. So everybody, if you paid attention thus far, let us know in the comments below. Does Sam have a doppelganger in Ed Legande? And I wish I was a doppelganger for Jason Sudeikis, but alas, I am not. And don't forget, if you paid attention this far, comment the word banana, and let's have some fun in the comments below. We'll see you next week for another fantastic cool down episode focusing on Ted Lasso quotes. Thanks.
Don't forget, believe.